Hi everybody, my name is Elizabeth and I'm a librarian here at the LSC Tomball Community Library. Welcome back to Baking is Making, the series where we only occasionally ever bake anything, but where we are always talking about food. So it is almost winter here in Texas, which can mean only one thing. It is chili season. No matter where you're from in the United States, chili is kind of a big deal. In fact, the New York Times calls it the political party of foods in that it's deeply personal, regionally based, and is cause enough to fight if it comes down to that. I'm originally from Kentucky, where Cincinnati-style chili is the norm, which if you've never had it, is a chili based around ground beef and beans, which is then served over spaghetti, topped with shredded cheese, hot sauce, and oyster crackers. I love Cincinnati-style chili, both because it's delicious and also because it's pretty easy to make vegetarian. It's this last point that has made me wary of Texas-style chili, which, as I'm sure you're all aware, is a chili based around meat, usually steak or beef, and seasoned with dried chili peppers featuring no vegetables of any kind and absolutely no beans. I thought that there would be no way for me to be able to enjoy this most iconic of Texas foods, but the good people at Texas Monthly have actually created a meatless Texas-style chili recipe that still hews pretty closely to the original. No vegetables aside from onions and garlic, no beans, lots of dried chili peppers, and meat substitute. They recommend using Beyond Beef, but due to my own personal preferences, I'm going to be using seitan. If you're not familiar, seitan is a meat substitute made from wheat gluten, and in my opinion, it actually has the closest texture to real meat outside of the Beyond and Impossible realms. Aside from that, I am going to be leaving my chili in the hands of the good minds at Texas Monthly. So, let's get started. To make this recipe, you will need cooking oil. I'm using olive oil, but really any type of cooking oil will work fine. 2 guajillo chilies, 2 ancho chilies, 1 onion, 4 garlic cloves, 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, or 2 15-ounce cans in my case, since the big cans are always sold out at my grocery store, 1 quart or 4 cups of vegetable stock, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons cumin, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 1/4 cup of masa harina or corn flour, and roughly a pound of your meat substitute, which in this case is going to be seitan. The masa harina is the same flour used to make corn tortillas, and it's going to thicken up our chili to make it a bit heartier, since there won't be anything else to sink your teeth into here aside from the seitan. The cat is optional, although it certainly doesn't hurt to have one around. To start, we need to do some prep work. First, we need to stem and seed our chilies. Next, we need to remove the stem from our onion, peel it, and cut it into roughly 8 large chunks. With our ingredients prepped, we can get to cooking. First, we are going to infuse our oil with the oils from the chili peppers. To do that, we're going to quickly fry the chilies for no more than about 30 seconds on each side. Once that's done, we're going to remove our pot from the heat and remove the chilies from the pan, but leave the oil in there as that is going to add a ton of flavor and a little heat to our chili in a bit. Take the chilies and place them in a heat-safe bowl, and then cover them with boiling water. Once covered, set your rehydrated chilies aside to cool. Once our chilies have cooled down, we're going to add them to a blender or food processor, along with our onion and garlic. From here, we're going to puree these ingredients together until we make a smooth and very delicious smelling paste. Now we are going to return to our pot, which now has chili-infused oil in the bottom. Return it to medium heat, and once your oil has heated up, add your chili, onion, garlic mixture and cook while stirring continuously for about 2 minutes. Next, add your tomatoes, your veggie stock, your spices, and some salt, and set it to simmering for 2 hours. Now that you've got 2 hours on your hands while you wait on your chili, you may want something to read to pass the time. I would recommend the Everything Soup, Stew, and Chili Cookbook. It is technically almost winter here in Texas, and nothing knocks the chill off quite like a delicious soup. although I have been told that Texas-style chili is not technically soup, but you get where I'm coming from here. If you want to mix up your routine after making this delicious Texas-style chili, you have plenty of other great recipes to choose from here. You can check out the Everything Soup, Stew, and Chili Cookbook from the Harris County Public Library. Now that our 2 hours have elapsed and my apartment smells absolutely heavenly, we have a couple more steps before our chili is ready to eat. First, we are going to heat a sauté pan and some oil over medium heat. Add in your seitan and some salt and cook it for around 6 or 7 minutes. Seitan is technically already cooked when you buy it, so we're not really cooking it here as much as we're trying to just warm it up. But this will help you add a nice crispy crust to the outside that will go a long way into tricking your brain into thinking you're actually eating meat. The way to do this is I would recommend touching the seitan as little as possible once you have it in the pan. Leaving it in one spot will help bring that browning that's going to add a wonderful, crispy, meaty texture. Once your seitan is all cooked and browned, set it aside and we will move on to finishing off our chili. Next, take your masa and about half a cup of your chili and mix it together in a small bowl before adding it back to the finished chili. This is going to give your dish that super thick, almost creamy texture that Texas-style chili is known for. It'll also make it much more hearty and filling since there is no actual meat in this chili. Once you've added your masa, add in your seitan, mix well, and let everything simmer together for another 5 minutes or so to make sure all of the flavors have melded together. And that, my friends, is it. I'm going to serve mine with some tortilla chips, but feel free to top yours with your preferred chili fixins. My boyfriend whipped up some homemade crema to put on his that was delicious, but does render the chili non-vegan, so follow your heart and your dietary restrictions on this one. This was by far the most flavorful chili I've ever had, so I will definitely be slipping this into my winter food rotation. Thank you for watching this episode of Baking is Making. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter so that you never miss a future episode of Baking is Making or any of our other great online programs. And be sure to let me know if you think I have irrevocably destroyed the sanctity of Texas-style chili. Obviously, I think it's delicious, but I also don't eat meat and I'm not originally from Texas, so maybe this is just a horrible slight against Texas food culture. But also let me know if you would be willing to try a meatless version of Texas-style chili, and maybe if I've swayed you over a little bit to the green side. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!